Well, good afternoon, and as promised, welcome to our second Facebook Live broadcast. And today indoors, quite aptly, because the weather is absolutely awful outside. And as promised, it's going to tell you this little bit about the Scramble Experience, give you a feel of what's inside the Scramble Experience. So hopefully, when we are fully opened again, all of you will come and visit us and take in what we've got inside the experience itself. So we'll start going in. And the first wall that we come from is really setting the scene. So it's Nazi Germany invading mainland Europe. So giving you a flavour of what was happening pre-1940, 1939. And then the next area that we come into is, like I've just mentioned, 1939 and Winston Churchill getting ready for the Battle of Britain. And there's a couple of videos from 1940s you can see there, showing a little bit extra. And as we pan left, there's a screen showing enemy at the gate. And panning left again, we see one of Winston Churchill's lines, mentioning about their finest hour. Good afternoon, Scarborough. Nice you've joined us, Samantha and Paul. Thank you. So we're going into the main part of the Scramble Experience, and as you can already see, for the size of the area that we have here, there is a lot of information on the battle. As we pan round the room itself, all you can see in here set the trust back in excess of £1.5 million when we first opened it in 2015. And of course the cost doesn't stop there, because we do have to replace things like projector lamps, and we have quite a number of projectors within the room itself. Sadly, it's not a real Spitfire, but it is our Spitfires that fly over above our heads as part of the experience itself. Good afternoon, Katrina. Good afternoon, Becca. Nice you could join us. We nearly weren't online because we had lost our internet connectivity, but thanks to our IT team, we were back online, so we're good to go here. Welcome from Shropshire, Daphne. Thank you. So I'm going to show you the first interactive screen that we're coming across here. I call this the big iPad, and it shows obviously the map of the United Kingdom, and you can see various balloons on there. We're going to concentrate on this little area here, known as 11 Group, which is obviously the southeast, and there are 4 touch points which you move the searchlights, or the lightsabers as our new generation calls, and it shows you the name of that airfield or aerodrome. This one is RAF Hawkinge, which is just literally 3 miles down the road. It gives you an overview of the airfield aerodrome. It's got a gallery as well, which has got photographs from the airfield. Squadrons affiliated to that airfield itself, and specific events of that airfield with different dates on it. So as you can imagine, there is a vast amount of information within just even this itself. It's not just interactive screens. As you can see above, there are read screens that you can just read along if you're not into touching the screen. So this next one, I again call it top trumps, because it is very similar. You have the silhouettes down the bottom. If you push 2 silhouettes up, it'll give you the differences in the 2 aircraft, and it'll show you a film afterwards. Good afternoon, Dennis. Welcome. And welcome from Tennessee as well. There's the 1940s footage, and there you can see 109s and the Spitfires. Incredible amount of 1940s footage that we have here. As we pan now to the right, you can see the photograph there of Lord Dowding, obviously commander of Fighter Command, And the next three interactive screens that you're seeing now, it's part of Dowding system. So detection, observation, building the air picture, command and control, and enemy engagement. Good afternoon, London. So where you can see here a little cross, you press that, and it gives you the information in written format. Again, original footage without sound, and even with sound. And this, obviously, you progressively move along, so things like the observer core, it gives you detail about the observer core. Fighter command headquarters, filter rooms and operations room. And we've even got survivors telling their bit about aircraft plotting, etc. And lovely Gladys has visited us on a few occasions down here. She's a lovely lady. Like I say, you just move along the three screens telling you about Dowding system. Next stage we have an original 1940s Berco type telephone. It's quite interesting to see the new generations. When you ask them to dial 9, they look at you in awe as to how to dial. But there are 4 different stories there that give a little bit of what they did. Which is really a mock-up of the cathode ray tube, as you can see above, one of the WAFs operating that, and it literally is you trying to get as many blips as you can on it. A little bit of fun. As we go across here now to the right, we've got, again, storyboards. And there are speakers above our heads, which there are in itself. One of the things we introduced here is something that was very common in the airfields and the caravans, etc., was to have a game of chess. To pass the time or waiting for that scramble to go. Good afternoon, Middlesex. Good afternoon, Stephen. Thank you for joining us. And as we pan to the right there, we've got what we call our Dispersal Hut. We did think about getting an original Dispersal Hut, but we thought maintenance-wise it was going to be too much. So our outfitters came with this idea, and it's quite clever really. Although it's got that wood effect on it, the panes are actually of glass. And in there we have, as you can see, a number of RAF uniforms, which we let our visitors, kids and older alike, to don on the uniforms. And this is the only place where we allow photography to take place. And you can see on the ground there, there's a replica of a common airfield in 1940. This one is based on RAF Kenley, but really a lot of them were very similar in design. As we come out of the Dispersal Hut, in the centre of the room, as you can see there, there is what we call the 5 phases of the battle. And this is one that you don't interact with, you really watch and read itself. Again, full of key events that happen on the date itself. Thank you, Capel Le Fern Parish Council. Thank you for joining us. So after 2015, we thought 2 years later we were going to add something, and we thought of having an experience of what a cockpit felt like to be sat in, and we've got as close as we probably could. This is based on a Hurricane cockpit. It's not a full simulation, but it does let you fly a mission, which I'm going to go to the right a minute, try and get in there. So it's literally a start button, and you have to climb to 5,000 feet after takeoff. There we are, up from the ground, try not to crash. It also gives you the experience of how confined inside the cockpit it is, or it was then. We now wait for the oxygen mask signal to come on, and then we try to engage the German bombers that are coming across. There we go for the second bit. And you can see the orange blips on the screen there. That's the German and that was intentionally crashed, of course. I do have a daily practice on that, but it's very good. But like I said, it does give you a real feel of the constraints inside the cockpit. Moving along now, we've got 4 screens that act the same way. We're going to go to the screen number 2, and again, this one is a touchscreen technology, and it's got various bits about it. If I touch on an incident, that's Boy Wellham, and what you can do is you can actually expand the screen itself, press play, and you will hear Geoffrey himself.
Particularly nasty sort of step 2. I was coming over Kent going like a bat on a hill, no doubt because I was a bit frightened, but there was a cricket match going on in a village field.
Lovely man, Geoffrey Page. Once you've done with that, Geoffrey Wellham, apologies. There are all others, William Walker, Tony Iveson, and even other original 1940s films.
One of the most common types in use for air raids, and it's a crew of 5 and manned 3 guns, one in the nose.
A lot of information there itself. Good afternoon, Sarah Jane, welcome. Just here to the right is what we call our logbook. It goes all the way through from the 10th of July through to the 31st of October. So you can imagine a lot of work went into this. It's a touchscreen technology, and you pick any date between the 10th of July through to the 31st of August. So it'll give you what the weather's like, or what the weather was like there, and specific events that actually happened on the day. So, for example, that one, 10:54, reconnaissance aircraft shot down over RAF Manston, just up north from here, and then you press the cross and it gives you further information itself of that specific event. Close it down, as you can see there are photographs of the few, again with crosses on them, and this one here, Pilot Officer Solomon of 17th Squadron, stating that he was killed in his Hurricane when he crashed off the sea off Dover after combat with a 109. Moving on to the left now, this is the corner that we dedicate to the ground crew. You can see we've got a little game again. It's arming. It's known as the Ground Crew Challenge, but it's really arming the aircraft, and it's timed itself. But they're a little bit telling you about the ground crew. Good afternoon, Sam. Thank you. Thank you for your comment on the on what we're doing here at the moment. And it's really, again, reiterating, giving you a flavour so that hopefully when we open up, it gives you an incentive to come down and visit us, not just for the memorial, but to come here and learn about the battle itself. Panning again to the right, so therefore we got more on the aircraft repair and delivery, civilian services, support command and services, and we've got another 2 phones. Again, these have 8 individuals, 4 in each phone, telling you their bit, and there's bits there that is covering the Queen Victoria Hospital at East Grinstead. Obviously they did a massive amount of work with the burns victims. Now, apart from this, we do have in the big 3 screens, we're going to pan round, a 5-minute film that comes on. It's meant, we recommend a minimum of 30 minutes to come into the experience, but actually even what you've seen now, you can imagine it'll take you more than 30 minutes to absorb all the information that we've got here. But every 25 minutes, a 5-minute comes on, the 3 screens that you can see here, and specifically done for us in the Trust, and it depicts a scramble. And it really shows you, in the 5 minutes, some of the emotions that these young men went through in 1940. I've said it before, I had the pleasure of sitting here with Geoffrey Wellham when we first opened in 2015, and he watched that film 3 times, and every time he had a tear in his eyes. It brought back all those memories that he went through in 1940s, and I'm sure a lot of them did as well. But there's some lovely photographs that come on whilst the film is not on, but I'm not going to show you the film, because what we want you to do is to come and visit us. But there is a little teaser link to this Facebook Live experience, which will give you a teaser of the film itself. Now, as we go out to near the exit point, and this is probably one of my favourite displays that we have here, a big screen with about a number of the few saying their bit. including the likes of Bob Foster, Geoffrey Wellham, Paul Farnes. There's Bob Foster himself. We do have a small display, Titch Palace's uniform, medals, and Bob Foster's logbook, and the replica of his medals as well that we house there.
Looking up at the clear sky, and the
Finally, before we go out, we've got one more,
nice day.
which is original footage of Winston Churchill as well. And the final piece that went in was this collage that you see there of the memorial, because we had to wait for the last bit of scaffolding to be removed before we could take the photograph of the wing in the background of the memorial. But as we get in closer to the collage itself, you will see that it's made out of the faces of the few. So we now exit here, and I'll show you two screens, other screens that we have outside the experience itself. Which is what we have better known as the Men of the Battle of Britain, and two touchscreen technology, and obviously you research individuals, and as we press one it'll give you a bio which is exactly the same bio that's in the Men of the Battle of Britain, which the Trust has its copyright on. We do a folder if someone's after a specific member of the few that would like as a keepsake. For £5 you get the biography printed off and put into a nice folder. So, I hope that's whets your appetite to come and visit us when you can. As you can see today, we've got what we would call a typical Capel-le-Fern weather day. In fact, it's cleared up a bit. The last half hour, you couldn't even actually see the memorial. Thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. Please keep looking at the site, because we're going to do some more of these, telling you about the few. Probably even the shop, have a look around the shop, and also other things that we're thinking of on these troubled times that we're living at the moment. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Thank you.